Welcome to another episode of The King's Couch. Today I have the pleasure to sit down with Giovani Santillan, a.k.a. Gio. He's an amazing and graceful boxer. He's also one of the coaches and trainers at the boxing club, which I am a member of, and that's how we met originally. Gio, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome. Did you train this morning?
Yeah, actually I just came from training. Got up, went to church this morning, and then right after that headed to the gym, and then came here. Yeah.
I actually came straight from the gym here.
So, you came from the gym too?
Yeah, so if I stink a little bit, I apologize. I tried to mask it with some body spray.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have a fight coming up this Friday, and we're going to talk about that. I'm really excited for you. I'll be sitting ringside watching it.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the beginning on how you got into boxing and what your influences were growing up.
Yeah. Well, I started boxing when I was 8 years old. It was, I think, April of the year 2000. And I was 8, and it was my younger brother. He's about 15 months younger than me, so we're pretty close in age. He started boxing with me too. And it was a gym that was just, I used to live in Logan Heights. Okay. And it was just a few blocks away from where I used to live. And it was one of those old school gyms, not like the boxing club, boxing club was really, really nice, And but this was just one of those old school gyms where you go in and it was mainly adults. I think there was like one other kid or two other kids there besides me and my brother when we started. And besides that, it was adults, just sweat everywhere, dark. And that's pretty much where I started when I was 8 years old. And yeah, when I started, I had tried soccer, I had tried karate. It was mainly, I guess, started because my dad, he used to love soccer. That's what he grew up doing. When he was younger, that was his life.
Right.
And in Mexico, and so, but the reason he took us to the gym, well, he took us to try karate, soccer, and things like that, and it was mostly just because he would come home from work. He worked in construction, and he was getting tired of, I guess, seeing us at home just watching TV,
right?
Just chilling right there eating hot Cheetos or something, And so he was like, I gotta get them to be active, I want them to do something, After school, they can't just lay here doing homework and just watch TV, So my dad thought it'd be a good idea to try different things, and none of it really, I guess, caught on for me. I tried soccer. I mean, it was fun, but it was just a game.
Right.
And I don't feel like I took it seriously,
I played too, so I know what you mean.
Too?
Yeah, I fell in love with music eventually, but
yeah,
same thing,
Yeah,
similar feeling.
Exactly, I was like, it was fun, but it was just like a game for me, so I didn't take it serious, and until we went to a boxing gym that I first started at, and that was where, as soon as I stepped in, like, I just got interested right away in wanting to learn, and I don't know, I just caught an interest right away that it became a daily thing. As soon as we went the first day, we never stopped going. And it was, I look back and I'm like, man, it just became almost like when you go to school. Like, you go to school every day, that's your routine. For me, my routine was go to school, go home, go to the gym.
And how old were you?
I was 8.
Okay.
So that started, since I was young, just everyday, daily thing, the gym.
Right.
My brother didn't stick with it because when he started, he was 7, I was 8. So it was like, at that age, he was still a little bit, I guess the coach at that time told my dad, hey, bring him back maybe in a year, because he thought he was a little bit too young to learn at that time, And he would see that I was focused and wanting to learn. My brother probably could have been good, though, I think.
And you said he's older?
He's younger.
Oh, younger,
so,
sorry.
Yeah, so yeah. I'm older than him.
And how old are you now?
I'm 29 now.
Okay, so you've been boxing almost as long as you've been alive, my friend.
Yeah, it's 21 years, I think about it. Yeah, it's just pretty much my whole life.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so, after, I just remember we kept going every day, and it was just something that, it got to a point after a few years passed where I couldn't see myself not doing it. This is what I do. This is who I am, I felt, Yeah.
That's amazing. And your father is your trainer.
My dad's my trainer. And some people think when they look now that he's been training me the whole time, but he was in the one he started me out. He had, he would watch boxing, just like a lot of people do, whenever a fight's on, right? But he didn't really know what boxing was. He didn't really understand it like that. His whole thing was soccer. That's what he grew up doing. That was his love.
Is he self-taught?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
The thing is, my dad was never the type of dad that would drop me off at the gym and then leave and come pick me up. He was there observing, watching, making sure I'm doing it right. Also, whatever the coach is telling me to do, if the coach turned around and left for a little bit, he'd be like, hey, he told you to do it this way, and then we'd work on it. And so he was there, always very involved.
Right.
Since I was a little kid, always very involved. And he became he fell in love with boxing, became obsessed with it too, just like I did. And so he just studied, watched boxing. He became he would just watch it every day. You couldn't, even now, you can't, he's always just watching.
He observes his surroundings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I think once I was around 13, 14, I had other coaches along the way that tell me a lot. I give a lot of credit to them. So I learned a lot from the first people that started me off, when I was a kid, a couple coaches that I had. And then around when I was 13, 14, that's when my dad stepped in. And he always felt it was better to have more than one pair of eyes on me. So he didn't feel like, I'm the only one who's going to coach you now. No, we always had other people there coaching alongside my dad too, and my dad was kind of more assisting the other coaches.
Okay.
Yeah, for many years. I don't think it was until I turned, might have been my 7th or 8th fight, or 9th, something around there, before I got to 10 fights, that he, for the first time, decided to step in as the main coach.
Oh.
In my corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, not until then. So it took him a long time because he didn't box himself. He almost, I think, wasn't too confident that people would take him seriously, I guess, because he didn't box himself. But that's the thing, if you study it and you're there, and you love it, you can learn it so much. Yeah. Just because you can do it or you did it doesn't mean that you can teach it. And that's the thing.
That's true.
Dad's like a teacher,
That don't judge a book by its cover. I always reiterate that on this show.
Yeah.
Just because you didn't play the sport doesn't mean you can't teach it. Doesn't mean you can't learn it.
Exactly. I agree. And that's the thing, I think that's what my dad's become is a teacher. Even though he was never in the ring, he knows what he's looking at. He knows what's going on and how to guide me. Especially the thing is, because he's been there with me since the beginning, he knows me better than anybody. So he knows when I got more in the tank. He knows when, okay, I'm a little bit in trouble. I need to switch up the game plan. So he knows me so well that he knows what to tell me when I'm in the ring.
I noticed his attention to detail.
Yeah.
And I love that about him. He's very soft-spoken, too. And those are the ones you always got to watch out for.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Where were you guys born?
I was born here in San Diego.
Okay. Where's your father born?
But, yeah, my dad's from Mexico.
Okay.
So my mom and dad, they grew up in Mexico.
What part?
My dad, he grew up mostly in Torreon, Coahuila. I'm not sure if you know where that's from. It's kind of I guess, kind of northern Mexico.
Okay.
He lived in Ciudad Juarez also.
Oh, I know where that is, yeah.
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 And I think it's like Tijuana, right? Just a border city.
Yeah.
But he grew up mostly in Torreon, Coahuila. And that's where he had, I guess, most of his childhood.
Right.
And into becoming a young adult.
Okay.
And, he came out here to the U.S. and just left Mexico for, I guess, many reasons, but he just needed, I guess, a change in his life.
Right.
He just wanted something different than what was going on currently in his life. I don't think he wanted to be stuck, I guess, what was going on, I guess, currently in his life. And he just decided to come to San Diego.
Well, gotta love San Diego. That's why certain people, they don't get it. They don't feel it like we do, but I'll never leave. This is home for me.
I say the same thing. Yeah, people ask me if I'd ever want to live anywhere else, but I love San Diego.
I'll travel.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe have a vacation home or whatever one day, but man, home is where the heart is, in my opinion, and this is where my heart is.
Definitely. Same here. And my mom's just from across the border in Tijuana. And she also, she crossed the border, came over here, and then made her life here. And they both met here in San Diego. I think they were working together, but this is where they met, San Diego.
Are your parents still together?
Yeah, they're still together.
That's a beautiful thing, man. Right on. And you, speaking of that, you're a father yourself. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And what it was like becoming a father.
Yeah, it was, my son was born. I was, 24 years old. I'm 29. I was 24 when my son was born. He's 5 now, years old. And it was crazy. It was just a change, It just kind of, it wasn't planned, but I'm blessed to have my son, I think my life maybe I'd be in a different spot if it wasn't for my son being born.
Interesting.
He's, I think, made me be responsible, having
Gave
to
you
grow
purpose.
and mature a lot faster than I probably would have if it wasn't for my son.
That's beautiful, man. And I've met your son a few times.
You met him?
Yeah. And just watching how you guys interact and how he lights up around you is just, it's a beautiful thing.
No, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gio is a very soulful boxer, a very technical fighter. I actually got to witness him in person, ringside in Vegas, this past June. And I was blown away, man.
No, thank you.
And it's an absolute pleasure to be sitting down and letting you share your story with the world, because I feel that it really needs to be told. So let's continue a little more talking about your bond with your kid, and we'll work our way up.
Yeah, no, thank you. Another thing with my son is I get asked all the time if he's gonna follow my footsteps and box, but boxing is very, very tough sport, and you have to be dedicated 100% to even think of making it anywhere, and you're not guaranteed success, and so you have to give 100% into this your whole life. And so for my son, if the only way I'd want to have him maybe box professionally is if he wanted it himself. I wouldn't want to push him into it. You got to want it yourself. You can't have somebody, and that's the thing with boxing. You can't expect your coaches to always push you and want to motivate you. That has to come from inside. You have to want it yourself. Your coaches teach you and things like that, but I don't think that they're supposed to try to bring that out of you. That has to come from in here. You have to want it yourself. So for my son to want to box, it had to come from him, that he wants to do it, that he would show me that this is what he wants to do. And that's how I would want to support him in it. But besides that, with my son, he can, whatever he decides to do in life, I'll support him.
Awesome.
Whatever he decides.
Yeah. I feel like that's the best approach, not forcing somebody.
Exactly.
Into
I want
something.
him to have options.
I've seen a lot of athletes do that, and then that builds a lot of resentment too.
I think so.
Yeah. For example, my ex was married to a football player and pushed his son to do it, wrote him too hard, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to school, and I want to study biology, maybe be a physician's assistant one day." And he could have had a prosperous career in the NFL, but he chose otherwise.
Yeah.
So exactly what you're talking about right there. And that's great that you had that approach. And a lot of it comes from the parenting. I'm not a parent myself. I only observe my surroundings, but I go back and reflect on how I was raised.
Yeah.
My father was an alcoholic when I was growing up. He taught me rock and roll, how to live the rebellious life. So it's like I had the yin and yang balance in my life.
Yeah.
And my mom became an entrepreneur when I was in high school. And I was like, went from being a daydreamer to be like, what do I want to do when I grow up?
Yeah.
Very rarely do I come across people that just have known their entire lives what they want to do. For me, I wanted to be an entertainer. And it doesn't just have to be singing or putting on concerts or managing artists or producing artists or hosting a podcast show. It can be all of those things and more. Because I just like Patch Adams. I like making people laugh. I like healing people with the gift of music, or fitness or nutrition guidance. And when I met you, I was like, wow, you're like the most humble fighter I've ever come across. There's no arrogance about you whatsoever. You're very smart, very intelligent, good-looking dude. And I remember we were watching the McGregor fight down in downtown, a Music Box.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a McGregor fan, but yeah, his arrogance is getting the best of him. That's what's destroying his career, in my opinion, right now. And you were absolutely right. Gio not only put my ass in check, but called out the winner. And he told me why. And I don't remember exactly what you said because, you know, we were in the mix. Yeah. But I was pretty blown away, and that was my first impression of you. I always saw you around, and, you know, I'd be like, what's up, champ? One important fact, Gio is undefeated, and your record is currently 27-0, about to be 28-0.
28.
Yeah.
Going for 28. Mm-hmm.
But anyways, let's continue on a little more. We were talking about your son, and let's kind of go from there a little bit.
Yeah, and going back to what you were saying about you know, I guess former athletes pushing their kids to do what they did, you know, and or in whatever sport. And you know, I've seen that along the way growing up. There were a lot of great amateur fighters, kids, you know, when I was a kid, and teenagers when I was a teenager. A lot of fighters that I met that were great, you know, really good fighters, but they had their dad maybe push them too much. You know, I did see that. And my dad has always pushed me, but we've also had that communication where we make sure he, you know, in the beginning when I was younger, very, very tough on me. You know, if, you know, in the amateurs, I took some losses, you know, as a pro. Thank God, you know, we've been able to work hard and be focused and stay undefeated up until now. But in the amateurs, I took some losses, and every time it was rough, you know.
Yeah.
My dad would be very disappointed, you know, and but as we got older, he you know, he would see it as, you know, it's a learning lesson, and I think it's because we've learned together along the way how to take those losses and learn from them, and you know, he was a lot harder when I was younger, and then kind of stop being so hard on me, I guess. You know, I'm trying to find the right word, but that's what I can think of, being really hard on me when I would lose.
Like strict.
Strict with me, yeah. And if I made mistakes, you know, hey, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? You know? But I think because we've learned from that, as a pro, it's been working.
Right.
You know,
it's
come along.
Proof is in the pudding, man.
Yeah.
And like watching you fight, I was like, wow, this guy didn't get hit once.
Thank you.
So let's talk about how you found the boxing club.
Yeah, actually, I think I'd heard of the boxing club, but I'd never been inside until I went to, I think they had I think it was a mix. I think it was a mix of amateur boxing and Muay Thai.
What year was this?
I think this was might have been 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 2017. I think so, yeah. And yeah, I'd met Artem. He shook my hand, but I didn't know who he was yet.
Did he know who you were?
I think maybe because I think, you know, I knew Ricky because Ricky was over at Art of 8.
Shout out to Ricky.
Yeah,
that's my guy. Dude. That's why I signed up, man.
Yeah.
Ricky Girl.
Guy, yeah. And so I knew Ricky because he used to be manager at Art of 8.
Okay.
And that's where I worked at the time.
Oh, okay.
At Art of 8, which is now Kearny Mesa Boxing Club. That's the boxing club location at Kearny Mesa.
Yeah, they for those of you guys are wondering what happened, they rebranded.
Yeah.
Like what, 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, about 2 years ago, and yeah, I you know, when I worked there, I couldn't imagine how they could make it better. And then when, you know, the boxing club stepped in, man, they just, you know, renovated it all, and man, it looks nice.
Yeah,
like
I went to the
gym.
grand opening party over there. They did a beautiful job.
Yeah, that's actually where I trained this morning.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, on Sundays I like to go there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you met Artem.
I met Artem, but yeah, that was the first time I'd ever been into the boxing club at, you know, the UTC location, and it was nice. I liked the 2 levels. I was like, oh, this gym is cool, you know. Yeah, the boxing ring on the bottom, boxing ring on the top. It was nice, you know. But I was still working at Art of 8, and then I had you know, on Instagram, Artem, I think a couple months later after that had messaged me and wanted to see if I was interested in checking the gym out and possibly working there.
So he followed up with you.
And training.
Yeah.
So he followed up with me, and I said, I told him, yeah, so we decided to meet, and, we met at a Starbucks right there where the UTC location is.
Oh, nice.
When we talked, and I liked it. I liked what he told me his plans for the future, opening up the East Village location, and told me what the boxing club is about, and I liked it. So, I really liked working at Art of Eight when I was there, but I guess I wanted something different. I
wanted to change.
Over here, I wanted to change. I thought over here, the thing is, at that time, Art of Eight was on a downfall, the gym, And so when I went over here, checked out the gym, I was like, I like the way they have everything organized. I like the way they run their classes. It seems very like this is where I can grow, as a fighter and as a coach. I think I can do a lot more here. And so, we decided to do it, start working there.
That's awesome, man. And you've been there for how many years now?
I think 4 years.
4 years. Yeah, that's about
September,
right.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
And what kind of coaching do you do?
I do boxing classes. So I'm teaching power boxing and workshop, which is more like instructional. One's more cardio based and one's more instructional. Where you're learning more technique and stuff like that. Things you can do in sparring and in a fight.
Do you do PT as well?
Yeah, one-on-one training as well. That's why I get to focus more on an individual and really show them and teach them, what I know.
So if any of our listeners wanted to train with the champ, where do they have to go?
Yeah, you guys can find me at the East Village location of the boxing club.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's your home base?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I used to be at UTC and East Village, but to make time for more of my training now that I'm taking bigger fights, I decided to leave my classes at UTC and just focus on East Village and my training.
East Village, for those of you out there that are still a little unfamiliar with the boxing club, is like their home base. It is their biggest, most lavish location. It is Artem's dream. There's a huge chandelier over the main ring, which is pretty amazing, and I've never seen that in a gym before. And I highly recommend checking it out. It's a very soulful, supportive community. It doesn't matter if you have physical limitations, mental limitations, what level of fitness you're at, whether you're just starting out trying to lose weight or a very experienced athlete or bodybuilder. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be the right fit for everybody. Some people like more ego-centric, like gyms, like the gym, for example. But you know what I love about the boxing club is Artem always uses the word family and stands by that. And I definitely feel that way. I go in, like recently, I'm going through a breakup and I've been going through a rough time. And Andy, for example, has been consoling me, helping me out, being like, don't lay on the couch, get back in here and cut that weight. And I did. And you don't find that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Maybe if you have a trainer, that's like, a good trainer is going to be like your therapist. A good coach is going to coach you through every step of the way. That's what I do for my clients, my patients. And, I just want to find that common ground and connection with them any way possible. Put myself in their perspective, their shoes. Not just give them mindful advice I think will work for myself or that I read, and I've seen a lot of coaches come and go through the boxing club, a lot of employees coming and going, but the core of it is still there.
Yeah.
People like you, people like Kane, the OGs, and I'm happy I made that choice back in 2015 signing up, and I'm glad that you entered in the mix, and here we are today, and you have a huge fight coming up. You just signed with Top Rank in Vegas. What was that, last year?
Last year, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about your rise to becoming a professional fighter.
So I turned pro in 2012. I had my first fight, and I was 20 years old when I had my first fight. And when you first start out as a pro, you're a lot busier in your career because you're fighting shorter round fights. You start off 4-rounders, jump to 6-rounders, then 8s, then 10. For a title fight, it would be a 12-rounder. But yeah, it was, pretty busy for most of my career. And then I had kind of like a little 18-month layoff, had a couple contract issues there with the promoter. And yeah, once we were able to resolve that, we started working with Top Rank. and I had my first fight with them in Vegas. That was last year during the pandemic, in June 2020.
And that's without an audience attendance, right?
Yeah, no audience.
How was that? Let's talk a little about, because you feed off the energy of the crowd too. So that must have been a weird fight.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, when you're it's kind of like the thing with boxing. A lot of the you know, when you go to different gyms, they call them like gym wars. You know, you have these fights. Some of the best fights go down in the gym. You know, and a lot of people don't know that, but whenever you spar and you go to another gym, you have to make sure you show up ready and in shape, prepared, because it's pretty much a fight. You can get knocked out in a sparring session sometimes. That's how tough they can be at times. You know, you don't want to always spar like that, but you always have to be prepared for that.
Right.
And yeah, so in the fight, it was almost like that. It was one of those gym wars because not as much of a crowd. It was pretty much just the press, and you can hear everything the other corner's saying. That's the one thing. It's like quieter, so you can hear the other corner. So that's one plus. You hear everything, all the instructions they're telling him too.
Right.
So you're watching out for that. Yeah.
So when you were preparing for this fight in Vegas, knowing there's not going to be an audience, did you have to get into a different mental state or switch anything with your training? Did that affect you in any way?
You know, to be honest, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I kind of just pushed that aside. I didn't really think about that too much. I think I was just thinking so much about the fight. It was my first fight with Top Rank, you know, at the MGM, that one.
Right.
So I was more thinking about that than the audience itself.
Yeah, at that point, you're like, I'm living the dream. You know, I'm fighting at the MGM. This is big time.
Yeah.
But there's no audience.
There's no audience, yeah.
And did you win?
Yeah, I won my fight. It was, you know, my toughest fight to date, that one.
Yeah.
That was
I
my
remember
toughest fight.
seeing you post about that too.
Yeah.
And you've come pretty close, you know, like, I think decisions, split decisions. Have you won by knockout?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, I got to go back and look at all the details of your record.
Can find my record on boxrec.com.
Okay.
And for any fighter, that's where you look.
What is it again?
Boxrec.com.
Okay.
So, you know, anytime you get a call for a fight and they give you the name, that's where you go and like, okay, who has he fought? This is the record.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So, fast forward. Your next fight was this past June in Vegas?
Yeah. So then after that fight, it took me about a year to get back in the ring.
Right.
And that's one thing I think has affected me also in my career a little bit is these long layoffs. You know, as a fighter, you want to stay active. The more active you can stay, the better. You know, you stay sharper. You know, the good thing is we're always training in the gym, and being able to work at the gym is a plus for me. Because even if I don't have a fight coming up, you know, I'm there at the gym. I'm training other people. I'm training myself. So I'm always maintaining there. And
you're very regimented, I noticed.
Yeah. So that's helped me a lot, I think. And my last fight was in June this year, and we switched it up. My dad, we used to have another coach. You know, we used to work with Danny Perez. You know, great guy, great coach. Helped me a lot in my career. You know, most of my pro boxing career, we've been working with him. And so he's played a huge role also in my career, you know, and he's a boxing coach over at the Kearney Mesa location.
Okay.
I would say the head boxing coach there. And he's a great guy. I would recommend anybody work with him.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's going to push you, for sure. He's going to push you. And he has a lot of knowledge. He was a pro boxer himself. So he had a lot of knowledge, you know, a lot of experience. But for this last fight that I fought, my dad wanted to change, you know, and I agreed with him, you know, let's try something different. So we started working with Robert Garcia up in Riverside. So half of my training is being done here in San Diego, and the other half of my training is being done in
so
Riverside.
that's where I see you train that when you're not at TBC.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so I think my last fight, it helped a lot. And the thing is, being over there in Riverside, I'm not sure if you know who he is, but Robert Garcia is a former world champion. His younger brother's, I think right now, former world champion, but he's like a 4 division, different weight classes, been world champ. His brother, Mikey Garcia.
Okay.
Yeah. And he has former world champions there training at the gym, future world champions, a lot of up-and-coming fighters.
around a lot of influences.
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, and it's what you said, a lot of that great influence there. So it's very competitive to train there. You know, you want to be the best fighter in the gym.
Right.
You know, that's always the mentality you want to have. And so, but every fighter there is good. Every fighter there is good. So you're being pushed. You know, you see everybody working hard. You got to work hard too.
Yeah.
You know, you're sparring these guys that are killers, and you got to step it up too. And I think that's helped me a lot. And I think it showed in my last fight, between my last two fights, I think that was the difference. Okay. And going into this next fight, I think it's going to show even more now that it's my second camp doing up there.
Okay. Let's talk a little about what goes into your mind right before a fight.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a lot of being focused, being focused on the game plan, but a lot of also being calm at the same time.
Right.
You know, you got this big fight coming up as a fighter, and you gotta learn to just relax, stay calm. You know, and you get that. I guess what's helped me too is the tough sparring sessions. You know, feeling the adrenaline pumping. You know, before those sparring sessions. So when I get in the fight, like, we get used to that feeling. You know how to deal with that. You know, and that's also what I've gained throughout the years. Throughout the years of boxing, is, you know, when I was a little kid, I used to get really nervous. You know, just because I want to perform. You know, you want to perform. You want to do well. You're working hard. You want to do things right. You get nervous wanting to go up there. And I always thought, you know, when I'm older, I'm not going to I can't wait till I'm older so I don't get nervous anymore. Right. But that doesn't go away. You just learn how to.
It's the anticipation.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, you learn how to calm down, stay calm, and then go in there.
Because you want to go up there and you want to perform, man.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to go up there and perform. Mm-hmm. And, so, right now, you know, I'm down to my last, you know, it's Sunday. The fight's going to be this Friday, so down to the last week. No more hard training. All of that's done. We did all the hard training. Now it's just, all right, that's just finishing touches, going over the game plan every day, getting the weight down.
Right. You got to have proper recovery time, too.
Yeah, exactly. I got to let my body heal a little bit, you know, from that hard training, you know. You get these aches and all that.
Right.
So
and we're going to show Gio some tricks. We're actually on location at Pacific Pro La Jolla, where I work out of, which is a integrative and holistic medical center. And we'll show you some interesting tricks when it comes to post-recovery.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
And we could talk about that, you know, another time. Yeah, but let's continue talking about what goes into it leading up to the fight.
Yeah, you know, at this point, it's just, you know, I know I've done the hard work. I think we had a really great training camp. I feel very confident going into this fight just because I know that I've put the work in. Right. You know, when you put the work in, you go into that fight knowing that you did everything you could to be as prepared as you can for this fight. Mm-hmm. It's when you know you didn't push yourself that you don't go in as confident, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And right before you fight, like that pre-adrenaline getting pumped up, what goes through your mind? Yeah,
so the day of the fight, I try to, you know, I don't think too much about the fight.
Okay.
I kind of try to just stay relaxed all day. It's just me just after the weight cut, refueling, rehydrating, and just that's all I'm focusing on for most of the day until we step into the locker room. You know, then it's time, all right, it's game time, you know, it's fight time. Fight's in a couple hours now. You know, I'm in the locker room, and that's where I just start going over, okay, this is what worked in training. This is what we've been working on. Okay, if he does this, you know, I'm going over in my mind different scenarios. All right, so this is what we're going to do. This is what I'm going to do if he does this. And it's just going over that game plan in my head and trying to just hone in and focus.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. And do you have any kind of like supplement routine that you do that goes along with your training?
I guess nothing in particular.
Okay.
Right now, yeah.
Right.
Nothing besides, I guess, usual protein that you'll take sometimes, but no, nothing in particular.
What about dieting?
Dieting, I just start off by taking away all the bad sugar that, you know, all the fast food stuff that I shouldn't be eating. And I'm mostly just, I don't know, I keep it simple. My chicken, my fish, salmon, vegetables.
Staying away from red meat, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So more lean meat.
More lean meat, exactly.
Proper protein.
Yeah.
Lots of veggies.
And to get down to the weight, a lot of it's also my my portion control.
Which I've always had a hard time with.
That's the hard part. Yeah.
As an endomorph, it always goes right there into your gut. But I feel you on that one.
Yeah. So a lot of it's that portion control. Not eating till I'm feeling like super full.
Right.
But just fueling myself enough.
Well, you're also burning a lot of calories.
Yeah, that too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and your metabolism is just on overdrive. Mm-hmm. So it can be hard to let your body and mind catch up at the same time. And that's what got me into like neuroscience and understanding. I was like, you know what? Anxiety is something that a lot of fighters and a lot of extreme athletes battle all the time. And I see that with my patients here. Mm-hmm. So, that's something I'd love to introduce you to later on,
Yeah, no, anything that can help me improve, I'm always open to it.
I'm 100% on Team Santillan.
Yeah.
And I'll be sitting ringside at your fight. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, sports arena. I've never met anybody that's fought at the sports arena before.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited about that. So let's talk a little bit more about the future of what you want to do with your career, where you want to take it.
Mm-hmm. Well, first things first for me is this fight. I'm really focused on this fight. I think this fight is huge because it's here in San Diego, in my hometown where I was born and raised. I think on a big stage, sports arena, with Top Rank, ESPN. I don't remember a time when Top Rank was down here doing a show, like this. So
can't remember even seeing them in San Diego. And ironically, the host, Mark, the announcer, is a buddy of mine.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I was at your fight, I was like, I know that voice. And I actually met him in Vegas.
Okay.
A long, long time ago. He's in Rock of Ages, that Broadway musical. And I invited him out to one of my shows just on Facebook. And he comes up to me afterwards. He's like, got to refresh my memory. How do we know each other? I was like, we don't.
Yeah.
He's like, really? I was like, I saw you Rock of Ages, and I was blown away. Sent you a friend request. You accepted. And I invited you to this show, and that's why you're here. And what I do, if I had to have a superpower, it's networking. So I had a bunch of, different people's, DJs, promoters, all kinds of different people in the same room where we were playing. And I'm like, you guys should all sit down and meet each other and network and talk. That's what I love to do.
Yeah.
Building a team, putting people together.
Yeah.
And just like what we're doing right now with this interview, for example. So anyways, it's a small world.
Yeah. No,
it really is.
Yeah. And, so, the first thing I want to do is make sure I perform. This fight, is huge for me. I want to show a lot more of what I can do in the ring. I want to show people my skills, and what I can do in this division, the welterweight division. I want to show the world that it's my time. It's my time. I've been waiting for a long time. I've been hungry for so long for these bigger fights. So I hope, with this fight, people will see that I need that shot. You
definitely deserve that shot, and I'm so stoked for you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know you're gonna win.
Yeah, thank you.
You got the heart of a lion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. I'm going to send you. Do you know about the lion mentality?
No.
It's a great motivational speech. I'd love for you to check it out before this fight. I think you could resonate with it.
Yeah.
So I'll send you that. And basically, the lion's mentality is exactly what Memo, your father, does: is observes surroundings and waits to strike. Yeah. And that's how you fight. So I think you could resonate. Yeah. By listening to that. And there's a bunch of different versions of it on YouTube. I'll just send you I think it's just like under 4 minutes, like video, just to get an idea. And then you can take it from there.
Yeah, no, that'd be great for this week.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be great.
Definitely. And what time do you fight this Friday?
I think the first fight starts at either 5 or 5:30. I'm probably going to go on about 2 hours after that.
Okay.
So either 7:30. I'll be the co-main event, so just before the main event. So I'm guessing around 7:30.
Okay. And how can people buy tickets?
Yeah, they can go on axs.com, or you can download the app. They have an app that might be a little easier to navigate through and find the tickets for this Friday, October 15th.
And tickets, I believe, are in the price range of $50 to $125 for ringside tickets. Ringside might be sold out. I haven't checked the availability on the tickets, but I know this is going to be a big fight.
Yeah.
And who's the main card?
The main event is El Vaquero Navarrete versus, I think it's Joet Gonzalez. That main event's going to be a good fight, too.
Okay.
That's going to be they're good fighters, two good fighters. So, there's actually that night, there's going to be a lot of good fights.
Right. And I'm curious to see what fighters are going to be rolling out to watch this fight, too. Because there was a lot of people. I even saw Edward James Olmos, the actor, at your fight in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
And ironically, a few weeks after your fight, I was in L.A. on Melrose, eating at some restaurant with my sister and one of her friends that had lived right around the corner. And in comes Edward James Olmos and sits by himself right behind me. I casually waited because I love watching everything he's done from American Me to now on Mayans MC. I turned around, I was like, "Are you Edward James Olmos?" And he's like, "See."
Yeah.
And he's very soft spoken, and I don't like bothering celebrities, but I will give my respect. You know, I mean, the fans are why we do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just turned around and said, "I love your work, man. You're brilliant," and let him go back to what he was doing. He was just chilling. You know, sometimes you need to find time to relax and unwind and decompress. And I knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Why he was by himself. You know, do you ever? That brings me to my next question for you. What do you do to take time for yourself to decompress and relax?
I guess, I haven't really thought about that too much. I guess right now, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything I do. I've been so busy, with my training, work at the gym, spending, as much time with my son and family that I guess I'm always surrounded by people.
Right.
But I agree that, sometimes it can burn you out, and you need your alone time for sure.
Right. Well, I'll give you a couple tips.
Definitely.
Yeah, you got to definitely take time for yourself. I mean, that's why when you work a 9-to-5 job, you have to take a 30-minute lunch required and 2 15-minute breaks.
Yeah.
And I usually combine that into an hour lunch because, let's be real, I like to talk. That's why this is a perfect format for me. And, I'm all about just my job is helping people de-stress in any which way. And what I tell people is make a list of 5 things because a lot of people don't have hobbies, I've come to realize. It went from a hobby to a career for you. So it's a little different of a dynamic now with boxing.
Yeah.
But creatively, they have that kind of positive outlet, especially when you relax, decompress your mind. It could be anything from listening to music, writing down your thoughts. I mean, you'll see me in the gym like a weirdo writing in a journal, but I'm writing lyrics. I'm songwriting when I'm in there. And most of my songs are my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm writing down my feelings. And my mother, ever since I was a little kid, gave me a journal. To this day, she still gives me journals. I have so many different types of journals, and it's rad to go back and see what you wrote when you were younger, too. It's like a time capsule.
Yeah.
So anyways, I tell people, write down 5 different things that interest you. Try them out. You're not going to be good at all of them, until you find something that really resonates with your soul and your mind and body and spirit. And for me, that's writing. That's what I do to heal. You know what I mean? Or I like to lay on the couch and decompress. And, I did a little too much of that this year. But now I'm back in the gym, and it feels good. I honestly just did lab work, too. And, I saw what was wrong with my levels, and I'm adjusting my dieting. And that's another thing that I always recommend people. If you really want to know what's going on, go and get blood work done. That will tell you. There's so much I can't wait to show you, Gio.
Yeah.
That I've learned in the year that I made this transition going from working in the music industry to health coach. And I absolutely love it. I'm all in. And it feels really good to be giving back to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we all know that people can be stubborn when you're trying to give them unsolicited advice. But my mentor, who passed away in 2012, a couple months before I opened up my studio, told me something very wise. And he was a sound engineer, and he's the reason why I'm at where I'm at in the music industry. He looked at the stage and then looked at me and said, "Oh, you gotta take it if you want to make it on that stage." And what I mean by that is you gotta be able to take any form of criticism, because people are gonna hate on you, regardless. They're gonna love you or hate you. You can't have it either way. You know, unless you're an asshole, they're all gonna hate you. But and still to this day, I have to remind myself of that, because it's hard not to get caught up in the excitement when you're super driven and passionate about what you do. It's all about who you have in your corner. And you have some brilliant people in your corner, Gio. I know, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
to have that kind of upbringing, that kind of discipline. I have a lot of respect for your father. He's very soft-spoken, you know. But I always I actually ran into him in Vegas on the floor right before your fight.
Oh, okay.
And he was so stoked to see me. He was kind of taken back and surprised, too. And I'm like, I'm here for your son. I want you to know that.
Yeah.
You know? So, shout out to Memo.
Memo. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to discuss?
I guess, no, just, you know, I hope that, you know, as many people that are able to show up to this fight, you know, or just tune in on ESPN, you know, I want to go out there and perform and show everybody a good time.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So if you'd like to train or watch Gio fight, there's many different ways to get a hold of him. How can people connect with you? Through social media?
Yeah.
And you already plugged the boxing club. Let's plug that one more time.
With the boxing club? Or?
Yeah, let's start with that first.
Yeah, so at the boxing club, I'm at the East Village location, which is in downtown San Diego. And that's where they can find me for classes or for that one-on-one training. And, you know, besides myself, there's a lot of other great coaches there, too, that I work with. My dad's working there, too, which is pretty cool to work beside my dad. And other than that, if people want to follow me on social media, it's you just look up my name, Giovani Santillan, and you'll find me. Okay.
And I'll be plugging like all your links, putting up your profile picture, whatever you want me to put on this episode's profile as well.
Thank you.
And then lastly, it's the part of the show where I like our guest to leave an empowering message or a quote that they live by. Like, what do you have to say to the people, Gio?
I guess I don't have a quote per se.
It doesn't necessarily need to be a quote, but just like an empowering message.
Yeah. Just always, whatever you choose to do in life, give everything you got, you know, and things are tough. You know, the best things in life to get there, it's a tough road. You know, it's not an easy road, but that tough road, that's what's going to build you up, make you stronger yourself, you know, and when you take that hard path, you grow, you know, so sometimes you got to choose that tough path, you know.
That was eloquently put, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
And on that note, that wraps up another episode of The King's Couch. I'm your host, Sulo King. And I always say, stay radical. And we will have to catch up with Gio in the future for another episode, for sure.
Yeah,
it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. We will catch you guys next time.